Hello, and this is next episode of Pajama Talks. And today we have two guests, Matěj Krček. Hi, Matěj.
Hey, everyone. And
Matěj is a developer, event organizer, student, business, and tech enthusiast. Our second guest is Anton Anokhin. Anton is, you have a pretty long list of duties. Anton, maybe you can tell to the listeners who you are.
I can do it quickly. I work for Wrike as an employer brand manager for Central European and Eastern European offices.
And let's start from one question to Matěj. I know that you are still a student. Maybe you can talk a little bit in what university and what is your profession or how to direction in this university life.
By the way, I'm not on the university, so I still study high school. So I study grammar school in the Czech Republic, and I'm fond of tech, coding, and let's say the IT area.
Some people they think that these people who joining IT and tech world these days they are here only because of the money. I totally disagree with this point of view, but for you personally, what is most interesting part in tech?
I guess I wouldn't say computers are awesome for me. I would say coding is awesome for me because I'm more fond of coding. It leads to creativity and you can build almost whatever you want.
As far as I know, you started programming at 14. What is the story? What was the start of your journey?
I have started at the age of 14. And after the Arduino, I stopped for a while. 2 years ago, I've started with Flutter. And that's the thing I'm still doing.
Actually, I can tell you one story how I earned my first $100 in IT. It was my 6th year at school. I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 or so. A friend of mine said that, hey, my father, his father had some small company. Someone made a website for them. And this website was completely in Flash. And on this website, there were a map of all the company branches across the country, and they added new branch, like in some small city in Russia. But the problem is that this guy who made a website, they lost him. They don't know any connections or any other contacts. And what if you will fix that? You will add new city to the map, and my father will give you $100. And I did it. I said that it was super hard, but it wasn't. And I've got my first $100, and it was it was a super big amount of money for that moment. And Anton, I know that you are not from a tech field. You're actually an editor of some magazines. You were an editor.
Yeah, I have a huge background in journalism. And I worked as a journalist for about 10 years, being a reporter, an editor-in-chief, and so on. And I switched to IT world 10 years ago.
Is age important or make any difference in tech field?
I would say, from a certain point of view, it is super important. For me, at the age of 18, I didn't have so much experience in this area as I can have, for example, in 5 years after I will graduate from the university. And that depends on which project are you working. If I were, for example, 28, it would be, I would say, easier because at the moment, everyone is like, hey, you are super young, you can't understand these problems.
This is really sad because the thing is that if you are from the recruitment department or you are hiring manager, please don't put years of experience into the required skills. Some recruiters, they put, we need 2+ years of Flutter experience. Come on, Flutter was released two years ago. What do you think, Anton, about this like years in IT?
I think we should give the place for every age, for every people. You should pay your attention only on the talents, on the skills, but not on gender, age, and race, and so on. But I think comparing to other industries, IT industry is more flexible and more diverse than, for example, bank industry, finance, and so on. So it means your age means, but it's kind of stereotype, not kind of real meaningful thing.
Is it hard to find your first position? Maybe you can share your experience or experience of your friends or maybe people of your age.
How to get a first job in IT? This might be pretty difficult because I guess there is like a pretty famous situation if you are junior developer and you apply for a job and maybe you get it, and you might get fired after a month because you find out you don't have enough experience in this area. So how to beat this? I guess you should build something on your own, to code some hard projects that will give you more than just a few lines of code. It should be challenging and it should be hard for you, but the experiences you will get will give you maybe a confidence to apply for a new position.
What do you think? Is it kind of required to have computer science a proper education or not? Because you should spend 4 or 5 years there. Just imagine how much experience you can gain in the field for these 5 years.
If you want to be a developer, a front-end developer, I guess it's like not super necessary to have a computer science background. But if you'd like to be, for example, ML developer or work on the artificial intelligence, I guess the computer science background is super worth it, or maybe required.
What about you? What is your way, and what is your plans for future?
That's the number one point I need to solve during this year. I guess I'm on a good way, but I would like to still have the computer science background, and I think it's the only way I would like to go on. But I don't see myself as a full-time programmer. I would like to work more with people. So, for example, become a project manager or something like that.
Being not so deep in the IT market right now and starting as a developer, or I think you have your own perspective, your own vision about the market, and it is interesting how you distinguish good companies on the market. What qualities or what options should they have to be good company for you?
From my point of view, it's important, at least for me, to love the problem I'm solving. There's a difference for me if I work on a, for example, health project that can help someone, or on a game. So this is like number one, to love the problem I will need to solve. Number two, I think some random moments, and it's like if you take a break and go for a coffee and meet random people you have never seen before and most likely will never see again, and chat with them about lunch or about something. I love this.
For the first position, for the first job, Is the money really kind of important thing?
I think so, but I don't think the money is the most important thing.
So I know that some companies, they have kind of student program, and they offer kind of, okay, let's work for us for, I don't know, half a year or 1 year, and we will give you will receive experience. We will receive free hands, free in all meanings. So what do you think about it?
Let's say when I was a beginner in coding and generally this area, I would definitely apply for this program, because the experiences I can get there is an extreme benefit for me. Well, and there's maybe one more problem, and it's time, and this is the time, because for me, I'm still on high school. This is super complicated with the time capacity. But for example, 1 month internship full-time program during summer, it sounds amazing for me.
Actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about mobility. You can move to almost any country. And of course, because of that, there are some like centers of gravity, like for tech people, for IT people. It's London, Amsterdam, Berlin, and of course you can get more money there, like a reasonable amount of money than in Prague. You are as a Czech citizen. What do you think about this? Will you at some point move to another city, or why people staying in, for example, Prague?
Personally, for me, I would like to move. I would like to go, for example, to London. It's just something totally different. Or I would like to move, for example, to California, to Seattle, or it's not in California, but generally this area, because the Czech Republic is super slow in innovation. That's why I would like to move abroad, especially to United States, because the level of innovation and technology is extremely different.
In opposite case, you can change everything around yourself, and there is a room for these changes, and I think there are not so many competitors.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem, another story. A friend of mine, he moved to Silicon Valley, to San Francisco, like 12 years ago or so. And he said that, I thought that I am the smartest person in the world. So because he's really smart, and in his like circles, in his company, he was pretty smart. And the thing is that many smart people moving there should be like, okay, I started when I landed and my flight has landed, and in the Uber I started to talk with some taxi driver, and he was an entrepreneur. A taxi is for pleasure. So, and he started to talk with the local like entrepreneurs and other people. Turns out that most of them, they are super smart, and maybe even smarter than here. Many people, they're moving to these centers of gravity like London, maybe San Francisco, and the competition is super huge there.
Yeah, I also know a few friends that applied to a software engineering position at Google, and I know them, and they are extremely great programmers, but they didn't go through the interview. They didn't make it because it's extremely difficult. It's like an exam on university. You have to learn the algorithms, data structures, etc., etc. It's super difficult there.
Can you remember the reason you started to communicate as a within the Google developer group, and started all the Google activities within the community in Czech Republic?
I haven't met almost anyone in this area in that time. I wanted to meet people, to learn something new, to dive into this area, because I thought and still think there are developers or generally people that would like to connect and meet each other, but they don't know how.
As far as I researched, you even have a course on Udemy with lots of advice and recommendations how to set up and conduct the good event, the good meetup or conference.
Yes.
So maybe can you summarize your experience, or maybe give us some tips about the conference and your recommendations? It might be a teaser for this course.
Thumbs up for the research, because I've just written it in an article, I guess, and I haven't found time to publish it on social media yet. This story has started 2 years ago, I guess, when I was one of the organizers of DevFest in the Czech Republic. It is a huge conference for developers mostly about Google technologies like Flutter, Android, etc., etc. And last summer, I've organized my first huge online conference about Flutter. And during this year, I co-organized another Flutter conference in Czechia and almost Flutter Firebase hackathon, but the government suddenly opened schools, and I was needed to go to school again, so it a bit ruins my plans. Yes, I've recorded a course on Udemy how to organize online conferences. I summarized them, several advice. For example, how to choose a topic or how to choose a date, because it's for online events. It's super useful to do it during the week, something like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, during afternoon, like around 5 p.m. But the most essential thing, if you would like to organize an online conference, is to understand what is your purpose. Why would you like to do it?
Is it enough for tech to have only, okay, I have school or maybe university, or modern kind of like coder or programmer? First of all, should go search for the information elsewhere, like, I don't know, for Flutter on the Flutter website. And you should learn not only from like teachers, but from any other sources.
I've started coding through Udemy, and thankfully I found an amazing course about Flutter. I bought it, and it's given me extremely important foundations. I didn't know almost anything about algorithms. I know some basic things like bubble sort. This is the thing that, for example, university can give you. It can be pretty useful in life because these random dots might connect, and it will give you a better perspective. I guess you should combine it. It's pretty important to have the computer science background because of, for example, these algorithms, and then practice.
So how you choose your way in this? Like, for example, you learn Flutter. Why Flutter? Why not any other framework?
I believe this is the life-changing technology. 2 years ago, I could learn, for example, Python, but I've chosen Flutter because I believe it can make such a difference in the world. I don't know if you have seen the Flutter Engage event and the Flutter 2. Right now you can use Flutter for mobile phones, through Windows, to Linux things, and so I think Toyota implemented some applications with Flutter in their cars. And for example, I hope Flutter can be used in the future for televisions, TVs, or maybe some applications for Android there.
Maybe you can name a few skills, that crucial skills for being in tech. I don't know, you should be focused, or you should work with your time management, or any other, the so-called soft skills.
I guess the most important skill is to use your brain and think about everything. Skills like time management, self-confidence, it's super important as well.
Most of the project and most of the companies, they will require from you some teamwork, some amount of teamwork, even though there are two programmers and that's it. But still, I would say that one of the crucial things for me is ability to play as the team.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you about this teamwork, and not to be selfish, and be to grow your empathy, and to work hard and playing in the team. Because I don't believe in the results of one-man results, but I believe in combination of brains. And I want to add flexibility in this list of skills, because everything is growing fast and is going fast, and you should be flexible and open-minded to the changes, to take this and maybe to use this for your success. And there is the cult of development in modern IT. So you should move fast and develop your skills and develop yourself to be on the wave. It is like a constant attribute of modern reality.
Right now, I can see a friend of mine, his son in first class of at school, or like a kindergarten, and they are learning programming. Matěj, what do you think? Is it kind of moving to the direction where you don't have to be kind of geek or super interested in that, and IT and tech moving to more common things? So right now we learn English at school, or math, or any other things. We will learn programming.
Actually, in my school, we are learning how to code. We learn some basics in Python. So I would say the IT area is becoming more common. But I would say there will be always some parts just for geeks.
Anton, what do you think? Where it's moving, and what we will see in 20 years or 30 years?
I think we are moving from the era of programmers / rock stars, when every developer was kind of rock star for the rest of the community, for the rest of the society. And now it is a common thing when your friend is a developer, or even your son is a developer. But I agree with Matěj, there will be some areas for people with sharp mind, for geeks, and I would to add some usability topics, because they will be relevant and they will be crucial despite of the technologies and despite of the new things we will have.
And maybe, gentlemen, you can share your kind of advice to to young people, and every time you say young, you will get new gray hair in your beard. Matěj, maybe you can give some advice for people like you, because talking about rock stars, you are a rock star because Forbes, you have article about you in Forbes, and it's kind of like big achievement. So what's one advice, or maybe two pieces of advice you can share to young people like you?
The first thing is still keep looking and like never settle. I guess this is important, and it's important to find something that you love, and you just like really love the area or the problem. And it can be like whatever. It can be coding, it can be some entrepreneurship, it can be everything. Everything is possible in this world.
Anton, maybe some advice like from the height of your experience.
Don't hesitate to make mistakes, and try, do, learn, try again, do mistakes. I think IT is a good combination of learning and practicing, and learn from people and practice it, and don't be afraid to make mistakes and to go to the next results.
Last piece of advice from myself to our listeners: please carefully choose sources of information and subscribe to our show. And thank you very much to you, Matěj, and you, Anton. And it was a great pleasure for me to see you, and hopefully to see you soon. And thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye.